Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I am Monae and you are watching Life is Monae. I am so sorry, guys. I know that my uploads have not been the most consistent. Honestly, the end of 2020 is whooping my ass. Like, I don't even know how to sugarcoat it. Like, especially with me being in school. If you're a student or have been a student, you know that fall semester right before the holidays is like the final boss that you face, and he is not my friend. He is not nice, and he has a bone to pick with me because school is kicking my ass and a bunch of other things. But I am going to try to get a little bit more consistent with my uploads for the remainder of the year and into next year. I'm hoping to get back on track and have more consistent videos for you guys. Today we're going to be doing the Anti-TBR Tag. This is the tag where I answer 8 questions about books that I have no interest in reading. So let's get started. The first question is to name a book that everyone loves that I have no interest in reading. Let me think on that. For this, I'm going to have to say Shadow and Bone, the first Grishaverse series by Leigh Bardugo. I love Leigh Bardugo. I read Ninth House. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan of Six of Crows, but for some reason, I just have zero desire to read Shadow and Bone. Like, everybody talks about it and they love it. I've even seen people that didn't like Six of Crows say that they liked the original series, which is Shadow and Bone. But I just have like zero interest to read it. None of the characters sound interesting. The plot doesn't sound that good. I just have no desire at all. And it sucks because she's continuing with the series. I know that there's like King of Scars that came out, which was an addition to that series. And there's another one getting ready to come out. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it here if you're someone who's interested in those books or you have read them. And I also know that she just came out with like a Saints book that has something to do with the Grishaverse, but it's just gonna have to, the train's gonna have to go without me because I don't want to be on it. Number 2 is a classic book or author that I don't have any interest in reading. There's quite a few classics that I have no interest in reading, and one of those is going to be Lord of the Rings. I've never seen the movies. I am not interested. No matter how good people say it is, I know for a fact that I will not be reading the books, and yeah, I'm just never going to join that fandom of Lord of the Rings stands. I just don't see me partying among those. For question number 3 is to name an author whose books I currently have no interest in reading, and still that is Brandon Sanderson. I just cannot bring myself to pick up one of those books. Every time I put them in my cart on Amazon or Barnes & Nobles, I end up removing them and not checking them out. And the one set of Brandon Sanderson books I did buy was the Mistborn trilogy. They have been sitting on my shelf for a smooth 6 months. And at this point, they're just there for aesthetics because I remember I did a live show not too long ago and I was talking about those books and someone said that they had a heist in them. And I love heists, okay? Any book, movie, TV show with a heist, I'm going to read it, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to buy it because that's just my trope. That's the trope of all tropes for me, is someone stealing something that doesn't belong to them. I'm here for it. The chat was very divided over if the Mistborn trilogy had a heist or if it did not. Aaron from Booked and Busy said that it had a heist inside, and I believe 2 or 3 other people said that it had a heist, and then there was like 8 people that said Mistborn did not have a heist and that was not the trope. And I'm like, if it has a heist, I will read it. If it doesn't have a heist, I'm probably gonna leave it on my shelf looking pretty as it is now. But I can't get a clear answer on if it has a heist or not. Did I read the synopsis? No, because I really don't have an interest in reading it. If I wanted to read it, then I would probably read the synopsis and it would probably tell me if it has a heist or doesn't have a heist. But I'm just going to leave it to the social media, and if I get an answer or come across the answer at some point, that may encourage me to pick it up a little bit more. If you have read Mistborn and you can confirm whether or not it has a heist, leave that down in the comment section below, because that's pretty much the only thing that's going to get me to pick up a Brandon Sanderson book right now, because I have no interest in reading any of his books. I just watch people rave about it and how much they love it, and everybody's going crazy in their videos over these books and just how gripping they are, and I'm just watching like, I love that for you. I really, truly do. I just don't see me, I don't see the Lord doing that for me. A problematic author whose books I have no interest in reading. Right now, I'm going to say Harry Potter. I have never read a single Harry Potter book. I have never watched a single Harry Potter movie. I just missed that whole wave. It just went right past me. I just was never interested in either Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or Harry Potter. The time that those books were like going crazy, I just never hopped on the train. And I'm a grown woman now. I don't do too much middle grade, and I was never going to read Harry Potter, let's be honest, but also now the author has been proven to be problematic, and that sucks for the people who did read Harry Potter and did love it. I am now glad that I never even took the time to delve into those books. I'm sure that they are amazing. I'm sure that the movies are great. I'm sure that they're inspiring and they've helped a lot of people in their childhood and in their life. But again, the Lord just didn't see fit for me to experience that, and I'm okay with it. I'm all right with that. Question number 4 is an author you have read a couple of books from and have decided that their books are not for you. For me, that is going to be Tahira Mafi, who wrote the Shatter Me series. I actually read every single Shatter Me book, and I did not hate it, but I will never pick up another book by that author again. That's the one and only time that she's going to get me, because that's over and done with. I was invested enough in Shatter Me to finish it. It wasn't terrible. I don't hate it, but I just feel like there are better things that I could be doing with my time. And I just don't see myself ever picking up another book. I know that that author has written other books, and I show right past them because zero interest. Nada. Not even funny. Question number 5 is a genre you have no interest, or a genre you've tried and have decided that it's not for you. And for me, that is going to be literary fiction. I just can't do it. Literary fiction to me just feels like those books that I was forced to read in high school for my English or like literary class, and I just will not willingly suffer through that. I was supposed to read The Vanishing Half a while ago, and I just knew in my heart of hearts and my soul of souls that I was not going to read that book. I didn't even pretend to buy it. I didn't even pretend to download the audio of it. Like, I just knew I wasn't going to read it. It just wasn't going to happen. And I also know that the book Little Fires Everywhere that kind of went crazy, I believe is considered literary fiction, if I'm not wrong. And that is the reason that I won't be reading that book or like watching that TV show, because I like to read books of TV shows that I'm watching or movies that I'm watching, especially if they're based off of a book. But it's just the specific genre that they put that book in. I just don't see myself reading. Any book in the literary fiction genre just has a 0% probability of me reading it, especially by choice. It just never sounds gripping enough. I just can't get down with that genre. I would rather read a romance book first. And like, if you've been here and you've been watching my channel, you know that romance is not my thing. I don't do sappy, happy, romantic endings. I don't do fairy tales, okay? There would be no reason for me to want to read a romance book. I would read a romance book 10 times before I picked up a literary fiction. So do with that what you will. Next is to name a book that I bought but will never read. And that is going to be Black Leopard, Red Wolf. I purchased that book, and I had so many hopes and dreams and aspirations in life about that book. And I read a whopping 17 pages. And I said, what in the fuck is this? It was a jokey joke. Okay? It was a hee-hee-ha. I have never instantly and passionately disliked a book so strongly in my life. And I don't really DNF books. I normally make it to the end. There are some books that I absolutely cannot stand, and I don't understand why people love it, but I always make it to the end of it. Black Leopard, Red Wolf is the one and only book I have DNF'd in 2020. Like, I don't have the brain cells or the capacity to get through it. It was so like, it was bad. I hate to say that. I hate to be the black girl to tear down the black book, but listen, it wasn't good. I was reading it and I understood what was happening, but why? Why is it so aggressive? Why is it so gory? Why is it everywhere? Where are we going? Where are we going? So much is happening for no reason. For no reason. Especially aggressive and gory towards females. And I don't have trigger warnings for books. There's not a book that has a content warning in it for me or trigger warning that would make me not want to read it. And so when I heard that the book was aggressive and gory towards females, that didn't necessarily bother me. But when I started to read it, it's like, okay, why is this happening to her? And it was everywhere. The plot was everywhere. The story was jumping everywhere. I felt like I was inside the head of a mentally unstable character. I was confused about what was reality and what wasn't reality. Was he speaking figuratively or was he speaking literally? It kept shifting and there was really no way to keep track of when we jumped to the real world versus when we were like in his head. And it just seemed really unstable. And I just could not sit there any longer and figure it out. And I remember tweeting that I was having a hard time with this book and that if anyone had read it, please tell me that it's worth getting to the end of the book. And I got so many responses and all of them said that it was not worth reading that book to the end. And I had to turn in my cards. I did not want my only DNF of 2020 to be a book by a Black author, especially because I know that the author is of Caribbean heritage. I believe that he's Jamaican or something like that. So I was so excited to read this book. But what? And then afterwards, I found out that the book is a mix between fantasy and literary fiction. And remember what I said earlier about literary fiction? Hate it. I don't know what would compel someone to mix literary fiction with fantasy, but never do that again. Ever. Question number 7 is to name a book series that I have no interest in reading. That's going to be The Raven Cycle. I just don't see myself reading those books. It's one of those things where, again, everybody talks about how much they love it and how much it meant to them growing up and just how special and sacred those books are to their heart. And I love that for them, but I just don't see it happening for me. Okay, and the last question is to name a book that is a new release that I have no interest in reading. And that is going to be the book about the king of Elfane who discovered something great and did nice things. I don't know the name of the title of the book, but I have not read The Cruel Prince. I don't see myself reading The Cruel Prince. And so, yeah, I have no interest in reading that book. Those are all the questions for the anti-TBR tag. If I listed some books that you kind of feel the same way about, comment down below and let me know for sure. I'd love to have conversations with you guys. I want to see what's on your guys' anti-TBR. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.